Aloha! Today we have a very exciting topic to discuss registering to vote. With the 2020 presidential election coming up, getting registered, even for the first time, is easy and you can do it from home. On your computer, head to elections.hawaii.gov. When you get there, this is the homepage you'll see. On the top tab, head to the Frequently Asked Questions section. Let's learn about online voter registration. This website has some questions you may have about the process, and there are two ways you can register to vote that we'll be discussing today. The first is entirely online. To do that, we'll follow this first link to olvr.hawaii.gov. The second way is to fill out a paper form and mail it in. You can access the paper form on your computer by following the second link for a voter registration and permanent absentee application. Before we get started with either of the two methods, here are a few things you need to have on hand: your Hawaii State driver's license, or your Hawaii State ID, and your Social Security number. If you have these, you can use the first option. If you don't, stick around and there was something for you on the second option. All right, first, let's take a look at how to register completely online. This portal lets you register to vote for the first time, update your existing registration, or confirm your voter registration address. Before we get started, make sure you have your driver's license or ID card, as well as your Social Security number. If English is not your first language, head to the top right corner of this page, and there are a couple more options by clicking the hyperlinks. Let's get started. On the first page, you'll enter some identification information. I won't be filling this out with my real information because I'm already registered in another state. Fill out your last name, first name, and your date of birth. Then, the last 4 digits of your Social Security number. The last field needs your ID number from either your driver's license or your Hawaii State ID. Before you click to the next page, let's read the disclaimer at the bottom. By utilizing the online voter registration system, you consent to election officials obtaining information from government databases associated with government-issued identification, including your digitized signature, in order to complete and confirm the contents of your application and to validate and confirm your identity. So basically, before you submit this page, double check all the information you've entered to ensure that it's factual and it's truthful to your best knowledge. When you hit the next arrow, the next page will take you to your registration status. After that, it will confirm your contact information. And after that, you'll review your registration. Pretty easy. Now, back to where we started. If you would like to access the paper application instead of registering online, click the second link. It brought us to the Hawaii voter registration application. We have two options. Either we can type in all the fields and then print out the form to mail it, or we can print out the form and handwrite in all the fields. If you fill out this form with a pen, make sure you use black ink. Let's go through each of the fields. Again, I won't be putting in my real information here, but we'll go through it together. In box 1, are you a citizen of the United States of America? Yes. Are you at least 16 years of age? Remember, you can register at 16, but you must be 18 to vote. Are you a resident of the state of Hawaii? I answered yes to all 3 of these questions. In box 2, we'll start with some identifying information. Type in your last name, your first name, your middle initial, and if you have a suffix like junior or the second or the third, enter that. Now, get out your Hawaii State driver's license or ID. In box 3, enter the number. If you don't have a Hawaii State driver's license or state ID, but you do know your social security number, you can skip the first part of box 3 and just enter the last 4 digits of your social. Now, if you don't have a state ID, a driver's license, or a social security number, you can skip the first 2 options and check the box to say that you don't have any of these. That's okay, you can still register. In box 4, go ahead, put in your date of birth, your phone number, and an email address. In box 5, we'll start putting in your physical address information. For the residence portion, the address they're asking for is where you physically live. So if you receive your mail at a P.O. box or an address that is different from the place where you physically live, save that and we'll use it in the next portion. If you have an apartment number, put that in. And then let's put in our city and our zip code. If you receive mail at the same address where you live, check the box to indicate that. But if you receive mail at a different address than the one where you live, enter that in the fields below. If you live somewhere that does not have a street address, use this box to describe the location. You can use cross streets and landmarks to indicate where you live. Okay, now we've entered our residence information. You need to tell the state of Hawaii if you're currently registered to vote in another state. If you are, checking this box and submitting this form to Hawaii will cancel your previous voter registration, so you can move forward with this one. In box 6B, enter the address at which you were last registered to vote in a state other than Hawaii. All right, now we've given all the information we need. Before we sign the form, which you will have to do after printing it out and using a pen, there's a quick warning. Any person who knowingly furnishes false information may be guilty of a Class C felony. By signing the box below, you affirm that all information furnished on this application is true and correct. So before we print and sign, let's take another look and make sure that everything we said was accurate, was up to date, and was truthful. Okay, If you're good with everything you entered, print your form, sign your name, put the date, and if you're unable to sign, you can mark the signature line and have a witness provide their signature, address, and phone number in the space below. The final 3 boxes on this form are not for our use. They'll be used by the office that processes our request. If we scroll down, we can find out some information about where to mail this. If you're registering for the first time, let's start on this part of the pamphlet. When you mail your application in, you'll also need to provide some sort of proof of identification. There are a couple different options. You can use a copy of a current and valid photo identification, such as a driver's license, state ID, or passport. Again, a copy, not the actual document. Or you can use a current utility bill, bank statement, government check, paycheck, or other documentation that shows your name and address. After you have your documents and your application printed out, where do we submit them? Down below, there's a list of places to submit them depending on which island you live on. For the Big Island, send it to the County of Hawaii. The County of Kauai has an address. The County of Maui has an address. And for Oahu, send to the City and County of Honolulu. If you have any issues or questions, there are also telephone numbers where you can reach each county. That's in the middle section over here. There are phone numbers for Hawaii, Maui, Kauai, and Oahu. If you have trouble getting a hold of someone with any of those phone numbers, there is a toll-free 1-800 number. Okay. Let's head back to our homepage. Today, we've discussed 2 ways you can register to vote for the first time or update your voter registration information with the state of Hawaii. Before you cast your vote, remember to go to elections.hawaii.gov. There's all sorts of great information on this website. If you have any questions about the Office of Elections, voter criteria, local and national candidates, different political parties, and then other resources and frequently asked questions, just use the top tab here. Good luck, and thank you for voting.